All right, going to give it a couple seconds. Let everybody else join on to the call. Just making sure that I put out the link to everybody out as well. All right, just taking a quick look here. All right, just going to give it a couple seconds. Hopefully we get some people joining on to the call today. If not, that's perfectly fine. The recording will definitely do some justice as far as the analysis is concerned. This analysis for this week will be spot on for any type of trading that could be, taken, or trades that could be taken for high profits, and obviously be able to make as much money as possible with the education that's being given, at least, or just the ideas, the trade ideas that are given here on these initial sessions. So hopefully, at least with the recording and the ability to watch this over and over to get the knowledge, it'll help you succeed a little bit or get more closer to your financial freedom and become a lot more profitable within your trading career. So that's the biggest reason why we're here. The biggest reason is we always want to make sure that we're educating ourselves and staying on top of the game, so that way we can perfect our craft, because at the end of the day, we're never going to truly be able to perfect it. We can get as close to perfection as possible, and that's all that really matters. So if you try to just get 1% better every single day, by the end of the year, you're 365.5% better. So you always want to make sure that you're getting better. So I really want to make sure that I'm assisting, helping everybody to the best of my abilities, understand how to trade better, and really be as profitable as possible. So there is a chat below. I am looking at the chat room as well with you guys. So if there's any questions, hopefully you guys have some questions. If you guys have questions, feel free to let me know. I definitely want to make sure that I'm staying relevant to any of the knowledge that's needed. And obviously, real quick, if there's any charts that you guys would like to identify as well, I want to make this very detailed for you guys. And again, really relevant to what you guys need to know, what you guys need to learn, any specific markets that you guys would like to have marked up, and really have a strong understanding. By all means, feel free to let me know. I could definitely do that. So again, I am looking at the comment section below, so that way I can obviously answer and cater to any and all of your needs, and then go from there. I believe there is a slight delay between myself and the stream itself. So if you think I'm ignoring you, I promise you I'm not. I'm just basically just waiting for the questions to pop up on my end. But all right, let's get started. I'll take a look at some charts I usually start off with. Just like my favorite pairs being like gold and GJ, and basically any and all yen pairs. But we'll take a quick look at GJ. This is actually something that was on yesterday's recorded video. So if you guys want to take a look at that yesterday, by all means, the analysis so far has been pretty spot on from what we've been trying to identify. So the one thing I'm always going to do is just jump onto a higher time frame, being the weekly, the daily, to get a strong understanding. And we're just going to do an overview of this, so that way we can see how the market has developed, see how our analysis was right, and see the reasonings behind that, and then go over the next steps, and then we'll move on to another chart. So I'm going to stay here on the daily, and the reason why I'm on the daily time frame is it's a very important reason, or a higher time frame for that matter, is I always want to pay attention to the bigger picture. What is the market giving me? And I can currently see that the market overall, yes, overall, the market has been creating higher highs and higher lows. And we can see overall the market is pretty much bullish from these lows to these highs. Now, the one thing you always need to understand is you could find sells in a buyer's market and buys in a seller's market. So what I can understand also is that all trends are not going to always last that long. They'll stick around for a bit, but they're not going to be permanent. And the reason why I'm saying that is, in case anybody can see this, if you watched the recording from yesterday, is there's that head and shoulders pattern. Now, the head and shoulders pattern is notorious to show you reversals. Now, if I can see that, and I also see that the market is creating, since the head and shoulders pattern has been developing, lower highs and now lower lows as well, that's going to show me that the market is changing its initial direction and approach, and maybe not, or may not be wanting to become or remain bullish for that matter. So we're going to draw this trend line out, and that is a very simple concept. A trend line is it's a line showing you the direction of the current trend. You're connecting those lower highs together, create an angle that can obviously show you potential opportunities for trades. Now, I'm also going to draw this level of support down here. As you see, you're going to see a lot with my trading. I'm not having my charts marked up extensively to the point where you're not going to know what the fuck to look at. I'm always going to make sure that I'm understanding the proper and most relevant levels of structure, so that way I can identify entries around those areas. Because again, this is called price action trading. You're identifying the most relevant area of price and structure, and then the actions, the confluences that proceed within them. So this level of support is important because you can see how the market has rejected here before. We can even see it from here to the upside. Even though there's a small break, it came crashing right back below that level of price. And then when it did break above up here, you can see it came to retest right here that level of structure. Now, my structure might seem like, things are broken because you might see like the candle is right below. That's perfectly fine. I'm identifying this level of structure the way that I'm just trying to identify. And that's just to see it, to identify when the market reaches that point. My eyes should be glued to that area for any type of confluence, any type of action. I'm not going to have my zones extend and be that big. That's ridiculous. So I'm just going to have my zone just like this. Simple idea. And that's the main reason why we're looking at these potential buys. Now, also, we have this candlestick. Now, I am going to be putting out a candlestick video, like a tutorial on my favorite candlestick patterns. So I'm not going to go too heavy into detail with this right now, but this is a rejection candle. We can see that the market could not break below that initial area. And it's not the same exact candle, but we get the same idea with that candle. The wick that was left below is showing a level of strong rejection. That level of strong rejection is, again, giving you the idea that maybe this won't be broken and there's potential buys that can occur. What's this next candlestick here on the daily time frame look like? Right now, that looks like a bullish engulfing candlestick, which is extremely important, especially off a range like that, because you're always going to be able to identify, again, actions at a level of price. Now, if we put all three of these together, you have a morning star candlestick pattern. Now, I know I said I was going to go into great detail, but that's important because what we're looking at are potential trades or buys from that initial range. Now, for me personally, I did get on the auto trader for students, I did get the buys on this, and I was also able to get buys on CAD JPY, which we'll take a look at right after. And it's basically the same concept. There's really nothing different off of the reasons why we entered all of these two trades. Now, there's also up here what I want to speak on, because there's going to be sells coming up very soon as well. Hopefully, because we can say sells will be coming up and then just continues to buy. If it continues to buy, that's perfect. That's no problem. But what we can see is there's a level of resistance here. Now, if you're wondering why am I paying attention to just this general point right here, is because of that double top that has occurred. That double top here is really important because, again, that double top is showing you a level or an idea of a reversal. It is a reversal pattern. So the most important part of that reversal pattern is down here. Not the resistance, but that support range. So I'm identifying this because there's going to be sells that will occur off the retest of that range. So I'm going to take my Fibonacci's from swing high, swing low. And we can actually see how the market has developed into that strong buy and now leading into our sell range. Now, I'm never specific on a fib ratio. I'm not always going to place it off the 61.8 because it can be at times 38.2 or the 886. But what I will understand is that I can see that this level of structure is the most relevant place for entries, and we have a 50% and 61.8% fib ratio there. Those would be my two focal points to identify actions as far as entries are concerned. So real quick, I see that we do have some people on right now. Thank you guys for being on this morning with me. I appreciate it. If you're legacy students, holla at me. What's good? Good morning. Hopefully you guys have checked your auto trader so far. We started off really good, just holding those trades over from last week. It's all about patience. I had students like killing me, like, yo, Jay, what's up with these trades, man? Like, they're taking forever. I can't control the markets. I wish I could, trust me. But with a little bit of patience and allowing the markets to work for us, everything is in order. So if you guys haven't taken a look, go take a look for any legacy students that's on the call right now. Definitely in some nice profits. So great start to the week. But yeah, real quick, I am looking at the comment section below for any individuals who are joining on right now. There has been no questions. There has been nothing so far. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are just paying attention and listening. That's amazing. That's great. But I definitely want to hear from you guys, understand what you guys need help with, and then go from there. But I do want to take a look at CAD JPY because this one was a tricky one a little bit in the sense of letting the markets really play out, and also just the understanding of patience. You know what I mean? Patience is everything we do within trading is like 80% of what we do in trading is waiting. And then the other percentage is buying and selling. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, I'm always going to identify the most relevant levels of price and structure. That to me is important right here. Because what I can see is that the market respected this point multiple times. I was going to say violated. I was going to say the complete opposite of what it did. But what we can see is this level of respect here. That level of respect, again, level of structure, support. That's important for us because, again, that's going to show us the next potential move. Now, this one's a little bit tricky because this is considered somewhat of a double top. And the reason why I say somewhat is because if I'm correct, on the smaller time frames, this is a break above. And on a double top, you can't, or a double top or a double bottom, you can't break above the highest point of the structure or the actual pattern itself. but you can actually consider this a double top, at least based off this time frame, because we actually did not break above the actual highs of that wick. So we can actually consider that another double top. And the reason why we are considering that, again, same reason why we're looking at GJ. I'm not going to go into strong detail, but just because we did it with GJ. But with that double top idea, we're looking for these sells around this range. Again, just a respect of structure, identifying where the market is going to make moves from, make moves to, and then identify what to do from there. So I can see right now we are using the 50% as our level of our ratio. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be it. You know what I mean? Because we still have just came off of this support zone. And this is also, we were in a little bit of drawdown on this because as you can see, the market it was at this range, and you can see how the market tried to break below. But buyers were way too strong and came right back in. So now that we have stronger confirmation, this is why I'm not in immediate sells on this. This is why we have not taken profits on this trade just yet, is because with the idea of this rejection candle and kind of the same concept, if we go look at GJ, look, this is CAD JPY, this is Gbp JPY, same concept. We are getting a bullish engulfing candlestick being here, and the same concept of getting a morning star candlestick pattern, which represents the idea of a bullish reversal. I see we have a comment from Mike Smith. Jay, I'm new to trading forex, learning all I can about chart markup. When looking at daily charts, how far back would you consider still relevant when looking for support and resistance? That's actually a beautiful question. That's a beautiful question. So I'm actually happy you asked that because as you see, I'm here, right? I understand the trend. I understand the direction, but I'm also understanding what's immediately happening. As you see, I'm not going so far back here. I don't have to go to 200 AD, you know what I'm saying, to understand anything, because this has already made money over here. And if I just plot these lines and we go to the current market, none of those lines really have any relevance to what we're currently looking at. Now, I mean, this is I think, if anything, this is like the most relevant here. But that's not giving me a strong idea of, you know, a potential trade. I want to know, like, for instance, just to give you an idea. If we're in, for instance, like GJ or CAD JPY rather, the market was trending. All the structure here is important to me as far as the potential reversal that can happen, right? Because on the way down, the market is going to react off of those points. That's important to me. But the trends, like the 5 different moves, all this over here that happened years ago, I don't care about any of that. So I'm literally just using what I can see right here, if that makes sense. Now, in the future, let's say we do encounter, like we jump onto a weekly time frame, and we can see that this structure here, I mean, this is a really long time ago. I wasn't using any potential, you know, or any analysis from over here for any of my trade ideas here. But when it reaches, or if it ever reaches this point, then that's relevant. So I'm not trying to go too far back, especially in the beginning, because what you're going to do is you're going to try to start using, your chart's going to end up looking like this as far as structure is concerned, because you want to pay attention to all those different price points. Same thing on the smaller time frames. I'm not going so far back. What I'm doing is I'm trying to use the more of the immediate market, because I'm an intraday trader and even a swing trader at best, because I like to, you know, 30, 50 to 100 pips. In order for me to get that, I can use the daily 4-hour and 1-hour time frames. So I'm really not having to go too far back. Like I don't have to go all the way over here to understand the true essence of CAD JPY. For me, right here is perfect. You know what I'm saying? Again, because especially right here, understanding, it's also I guess the understanding that you have with the initial chart. Like I know right now that this is bullish, but this is a head and shoulders pattern. It's reversing. So I'm not going to do I don't need to do too much to my chart to get that understanding. What we also do is, especially when we're first starting to learn how to trade, is we think more is better. And I promise you it's not. Less is better. Less mess, less stress. I didn't even mean to make that rhyme, but it is. You know what I mean? When you have less on your chart, you understand a lot more. So when you're having all that analysis from fucking, you know, 300 BC, and it has no relevance to your trade, you're not going to know what to do with it, and you're going to miss out on what the market's trying to tell you at that current moment. So this is all I need right here. Again, because I understand the head and shoulders pattern, I understand that that's creating more of a seller's idea. I know that if I draw the same thing, kind of like what we did with GJ, we draw this line, this trend line. understanding that the market is creating lower lows and lower highs, and also understanding that the market right now is simply respecting that level of structure. I'll go as far back as I need to when the market permits me to do so. Meaning that if I got to use this as my previous level of structure here, in the future I will. But do I need to pay attention to that right now? No, not right now I don't, because that has no relevance to my current trade or my current idea. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Hopefully that resonates very deeply with some of you guys. I really want to make sure that any question that somebody asks, even if you didn't ask it, it gives you the knowledge to become better. But yeah, I'm not going way too far back. I'm literally just using what the market has given me based off the daily. I barely use the weekly. I'll use the weekly when I see, or if I need to really understand a strong key level, if this level of structure is in fact the strongest point. Like right now, we can use the weekly in a sense for right now to identify that level of structure. You know what I mean? Just to make this a little bit more relevant in the sense of the time frame itself. But on the daily, on the weekly, you can already see that, or the daily, you can see that on the 4 hour. If you scrunch up your charts a little bit, you can see that as well. But for me, everything is needed right here. Like I understand the reason why the support range right here is so strong. It's because it's been respected at least to this point. This is just making it a tad bit stronger. But do I need to go that far back? No, I can see the respect being given there. So hopefully that kind of makes some sense. But I do still see CAD JPY more along the lines of a bullish market, at least for right now, until we reach this area. And if you guys are like, oh, but Jay, it's right there. No, you always want to make sure it actually gets there, because that's the difference between, you know, heavy drawdown to no drawdown. Even though we're in a little bit of drawdown here, I mean, I did my best to enter my trade where I think it was going to be at the lowest, but the market tried to break below. But as you see here, with a little bit of patience and proper analysis, the market just prevailed and worked for us. So again, for any students right now, CAD JPY is up pretty big for you guys. So I'm going to be closing that out for you guys on Auto Trader shortly as well. And I'm just going to do this real quick because, as you can see, again, that Fibonacci is always going to be an important factor to your trading. It's kind of like that added extra barrier. The market's not going to be able to break the 2 levels of resistance. Imagine 3 or 4 or 5. You know what I mean? That's when you start adding your confluences together, being your fibs, being your trend line, being your structure, being your candlesticks, being any type of breakout patterns or patterns in general, being double tops, double bottoms, head and shoulder patterns. When you start to see those ideas accumulate and add up, it tells you exactly where the market wants to go. And all you need to do at that point is identify where you're going to enter. So I do think I'm going to be more specific, and I don't ever do this, but I'm going to be more specific towards the 61.8 fib ratio, only because that's where, like, I believe the more precise price and structure is. And everything I'm doing on the daily, again, I'm doing on the daily heavily because I'm giving you an overview of the week. Right now, we aren't breaking down any entries or any potential trades. So there's really no need for me to go on the smaller time frames just yet, because these time frames will be used more along the lines for entry criteria. But the reason why I'm scaling down to a smaller time frame is, as we can see here, hopefully everybody can see it, is a inverted head and shoulders pattern. The reason why that's important is because, again, actions at a level of price. Is this not your support zone, with other forms of confluence showing you that the market is, in fact, going to be more positive in your favor, meaning there's more buys, because we have this inverted head and shoulders pattern at this level of structure, this heavy level of structure at that. So me being able to see something like that is always going to determine exactly what's going to happen next. Adding those confluences together, really understanding the direction of the market, and always structure, structure, structure. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Hopefully it helps. But yeah. Let me see. Any other questions you guys might have? I know I just answered Mike Smith's question. Hopefully that kind of helped everybody else as well. But yeah, if you guys have any other charts that you guys would like to identify, have me mark up. I could definitely take a look at another 1 or 2. Go from there. If there's any questions that you guys may have as well, feel free to let me know. I definitely want to make sure that you guys are all understanding, progressing, and learning how to become better traders. That's the whole essence. That's the whole point. So I really want to make sure you guys are doing that. And I'm just going to take a quick look at some charts. I think Euro GBP should be something that we should speak on. And again, I'm just going to see if there's any questions. No questions? Everybody's Gucci? Yeah, I like my students. I jump out to the calls with my students like every day, and I'll ask them, like, you guys good? You guys got questions? Everybody knows how to make $1 million? And yep, no questions. So let's see. You guys are just listening. I love it. All right, AUD, NZD. This was kind of choppy. This was something I was looking at, but it didn't come out the way I really liked it, or developed the way I like it. This is another one, Aud USD. Kind of like almost hit or miss with that one because, I mean, a lot of the markets last week were just like, you know what, I'm just going to trend. You know what I mean? Actually, we can speak on Euro AUD. This is actually a trade that I lost. We can actually speak on this and the reason why I thought this would have been a good trade, and it did not end up being a good trade. So that's actually a good thing to speak on as well. When you identify a trade, a setup, something that you actually want to make money off of, and it doesn't work out, it's not because you're wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, sometimes something within the analysis may have been a little bit off, but the market is a living, breathing organism. So we got to treat it as such. It really does move on its own. It has a mind of its own. What we're trying to do is we're trying to Miss Cleo this. You know what I mean? We're trying to tell the future. We're trying to see, we're trying to tell what the market's going to do, make its next move before it even knows. So I'm always trying to identify that. Let me see. Hey, boss, what's your thoughts on DXY and movement of gold? All right, so I'll actually take a look at that. DXY, as we can currently see, the market on the dollar is increasing in value. Actually, I'll have to go into the weekly for this. Why do you think so? Very simple concept. I'm understanding the most relevant levels of price and structure because that's where the moves are going to be made. Those are decision points, decision areas, because the market is going to make a strong decision. So if I could just do this, and I see somebody I'm not going to speak on crypto only because I'm not a crypto expert. I don't personally trade in it. I just literally invest. I have a crypto wallet and just invest kind of blindly at that. So I'm not the best person to speak on cryptos, unfortunately, but I will be investing into cryptos for the rest of my life, if that makes sense. But as far as day trading, I'd be the worst person to try to help you with that. So I do apologize, but anything with forex, I definitely got you, without a doubt. But the reason right now where I do believe, as far as a technical standpoint on gold, is we're at a level of strong structure. And being this level of strong structure, you can also see this double bottom. I mean, the market leaves these clues behind for us to take advantage of it. We need to start doing that. So now that I start to see the market not just creating the double top or the double bottom, it's actually trying to break above, or has broken above the middle point, right? That B point, if you will. So we need to mark this up as a level of resistance. Now, my zone is not going to be that big, but I could definitely do this, right? So the break above that level of structure here is extremely important. Let me see real quick, looking at the break of possible rest of the daily, but shows some strength to the downside. Well, let's look. You know what I mean? I don't believe the strength to the downside is really that relevant. There's impulses and corrections, right? So after a strong impulse, obviously there's going to be a strong correction, or a correction in general. So when we scale down to a smaller time frame, and this is just so that way we can identify this double bottom at this level of strong structure, because that's important. That's the reasoning why the DXY is buying right now. And we can also see the break above that level of resistance, which is also a strong identification of continued buys or potential buys. That candlestick being the breakout candle, showing us that the market is, in fact, has more buyers, or buyers' strength. When we scale down to the daily, we can still see the market creating those higher highs and those higher lows from that general area. Can we add a trend line? Let's see. No, I am not going to add a trend line like this. Actually, let me see if I correct it. Okay. I see what's going on in the comments. Let me see real fast. So the reason why I'm not going to draw a trend line like this is because I'm cutting through Actually, no, I'm not cutting through any candles. Respect. And yeah, okay. So we can't actually add that trend line. I wasn't going to add it because when you have a trend line that's cutting through candles, that's a big no-no. You never have you can cut through the wicks of a candle. You can never cut through the body. But if I just do this, no, that's actually being respected. We can add that trend line. If I'm correct, this might be a outer trend line. There's different trend. You have your outer trend line, inner trend lines. Some are more slow, some are more immediate and accelerated, if you will. So right now, this will just be our basic outer trend line. When we scale down to smaller time frames, such as the 4 hours, the same thing. Higher highs, higher lows. Can we identify anything further? Absolutely. Yes, you can have multiple trend lines on your chart, just like the same way you have multiple levels of structure. So we can see this, right? So I'm going to leave that trend line. I'm going to take this one out so there's no confusion. Actually, I'll just do this. Because now that we understand the higher time frame confluence, right? We understand that the higher time frame, or the weekly, has that double bottom. All I care about now, because I understand the overall, you see why we use the higher time frames? It's important for us to get the bigger picture so we know the longer term ideas. When we scale down to smaller time frames, we're not like, should I buy? Should I sell? No, we already know. Smaller time frame, this is a level of resistance. Was it not? If I do this, Is that a break and retest of level of what used to be a level of resistance, which will now be a level of support? Absolutely. Can we add our Fibonacci retracement ratio from swing low down here to swing highs up here? Absolutely. Do we have a Fib ratio within that area of structure? We do, 50%. Now, again, after every strong impulse, there's a correction. This is a strong impulse. This is its correction. That correction will most likely end up dying out at a very relevant area in the market. Now we've just identified where that area would be at this level of previous structure. This resistance point is now support, or i.e. an entry area for buys. Now, why would that be? Because we understand the overall idea of the market and we want to continue in the direction, the trend. Add that trend line for further confluence. You have a strong entry point. So for me, I believe DXY, as you can see. So the one thing you also want to do is, just because it's selling heavily now does not mean anything, because look at the overall idea. You see what I'm saying? Because there was strong sells here, but where did it come to meet and buy off of? Just a level of structure. I probably wouldn't use that, but this would be considered kind of like, I know people would consider this like an order block. I don't call things order blocks. I think it's just a fancier way of just, marketing your strategy and package to sell to other people. I just call it price, man. It's the same thing. It's an area of structure where the market has made moves before. It's going to make a move again. And it's just a visual representation of that, just by identifying like, okay, the candles were consolidated here for a little bit. There could be some structural resistance here. The market made a move from that point. Just identifying relevance. Same thing here, right? It looked like a strong sell, but it bought. Same thing here. The market is bought up. Now it's selling a bit. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to last. You identify where the market is most likely going to make a positive move, and then you're good. You can identify entries from that point. And I think somebody said gold. I'll definitely take a look at gold. Now, this is the confusing thing with me though. A lot of what I do is like correlation. So for instance, like GJ, it's buying right now. So then if I was to buy GJ, I would want to go sell Euro GBP. You know what I mean? Because that correlation between them both. Same thing with gold, the DXY being the dollar, because when the US dollar increases in value, meaning that the dollar is strengthening, gold sells, right? Gold decreases in value, and vice versa. When the dollar is decreasing in value, then gold is buying. In case anybody doesn't know the reasoning behind that, is because if I'm correct, I'm sure this is still the case. A lot of people say that's not true anymore, so I'm just going based off of why the correlation is so heavy between the both, is because the gold is the U.S. dollars, or the U.S. countries, national reserve. So if anything happens to the dollar, we have gold and silver to back us up. That is the correlation between the two. The reason why I'm speaking on this is because it's been a little weird. We have the dollar increasing in some value for a bit, and gold was kind of just stuck, especially last week. Not right now. I was going to get to that right now. It was stuck all of last week. Now we're going to speak on what's going to happen with gold now. This is why I actually have this resistance point here, because I was waiting to see if that would be broken. Here's a very simple concept, and I don't necessarily use them that often as far as like to my analysis or any type of confluence. But this is the one thing, and I know I was going to speak on Euro AUD, but we can actually speak on the reasoning on this too, on why we always let a trade develop, let the markets really show us what it wants to do. We can identify the ranges, our entry points, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're immediately, automatically entering once you get there. Absolutely not. So right now with gold, we just look left to get right. I think that's the biggest thing we always need to do. Understand the reasoning on why something is happening. Why is gold in such a strong buy right now? Can anyone see why? Hopefully you guys can understand a little bit better. Level of structure. Why is gold in a strong buy? Level of structure. Look at this level, what used to be resistance here, was broken above, was a level of support. Was then a level of support with this double bottom. Was then another level of support with this rejection candle. Look at this wick. Wicks equal rejection, always. Anytime I see a wick at a level of structure, that's telling me that the market cannot break below, and instead of selling, it's probably going to buy. Simple concept. If it's not going to go down, it's going to go up. There's only two ways this market's going to go, up and down, or sideways if you're in a ranging market. But nonetheless, it's going to be up and down. So what we can see is this level of resistance here. This was a double top, And that was one of the main reasons I believe that the sell started. Now you're supposed to get those re-entry sells. We're not getting that right now. And we're going to understand the reasonings why on the smaller time frames here in a second. But the main reason on the buys is look left to get right, especially on higher time frames. We can see the market did not want to sell anymore. So we should be looking for strong potential buys or ideas of it. So we're going to mark that as our level of structure, our support zone. Because again, that is a level of structure. I know I'm repeating myself, but I promise you the repetition is going to help you retain the knowledge. At least the little bit of knowledge I'm giving, because there's so much more that needs to be done as far as trading is concerned. Marking up your charts is cool, but there's a method to it. Yeah, I mean, there's an idea of how and why. I mean, I know I kind of go over that with students. I go over that with students every single day. But in the sense of right now, you're just getting an understanding of the market idea, right? So if I even just do this, because now this should be relevant. Before it wasn't so much. Well, it was when it was broken, but not towards our current analysis. But now, right back to being an idea that we can use. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing out this trend line as well, because anytime I see a break of a trend line, that's obviously showing you the difference of a trend direction, but it's also could be used as a potential sell point, an entry point. So I'm only highlighting this specifically there because, I mean, the way the market on gold looks right now, it does seem like it might actually just be over here. But the reason why I'm doing this is just for more educational purposes, in the sense of like you want more confluences for your idea for sell entries. And the reason being is because right now with this market breaking this part of your double top, I don't see that being obviously respected anymore. There was a level of respect here for a bit. You can see that, right? Within these candles, there was some form of respect there, but not anymore as the market developed. So in order for me to understand what's going to happen next, I got to go to the smaller time frame, being the 4 hour and the 1 hour. Because right now we can see that structure point, that support zone has been held. That's the reason why the market is buying. What are some other reasons why the market is buying? Can anyone see what I see? Probably not on this time frame. I really only saw on the 1 hour, to be honest. With that being a level of structure. Now also when we scale down to a smaller time frame, being the 1 hour, that's the actual time frame where I saw it. You have a breakout pattern. So this is why I was just before I even explain this really fast. The reason why I'm being so specific on this trend line and the resistance point is, again, because it's kind of like X marks the spot. You want to find that perfect spot. You know what I'm saying? You want to identify that perfect area of structure or potential entry rather. And when we scale down to the smaller time frames, you can understand the reason why these trend lines are so important, because when they're broken above, they can be retested and used for entries. So you can see the break above this flag pattern, this breakout pattern, the break above confirming buyer's strength, the retest of that trend line, and then you can see the reasoning why gold has broken completely out of its little ranging market, especially on this time frame. So what can we do next? Well, for one, I would keep the trend line. I wouldn't really use a trend line anymore because it's already been tested. I don't need this support anymore. I'll keep this resistance because this was the area of structure that was broken out of, that the market needed to break out of in order for me to understand that the market is going to continue to be bullish and give even other traders in the world the same idea. And then you can see here that will most likely be our retest range for potential buy entries. Because again, after every impulse, there is a what? Correction. So again, just leaving it here. Let me see what we have in the comments. Shows a flag. There you go, Chris. 1 hour presented with a strong support. Yes, the 1 hour, this time frame, the 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, there was just strong support. There was just a strong level of structure right here that could not be broken out of. And it basically compresses. It's kind of like the analogy I like to use with breakout patterns or just patterns in general. It's like, I don't know if anybody was a rambunctious little kid, but I was a bad kid. So I was the kid that took the packets of ketchup, you know what I mean, and just like twisted a million times until it built up enough pressure and just like popped everywhere. So that's kind of like the same thing with breakout patterns or just patterns in general in the markets, right? It builds up enough energy, pressure, needed momentum to then make these insane strong moves as you see here. And it's just crazy too, because this is Monday. Like you don't see shit like that on Mondays. But it is very relevant. So what we do want to identify is the market to at least respect, come back to this area of structure for a potential buy entry. Every impulse has a correction. Now I'm going to draw the Fibonacci right now. Now it does not mean that it's going to be accurate because this is still moving. So as it continues to move, I'll adjust my trend line, my Fibonacci if need be, because obviously if it goes higher, I wanted that accurate measurement. If it goes, if it stays here, we're good, we're fine. But this would be our general buy zone for gold, leading into the designated area where we saw potential sells here. Now, I'm also going to do something that I actually just do with students, but I'm actually going to do this with you guys. It's not really a secret or anything. It's just a nice little trick, I would say. So we're also going to use something called the Reverse Fibonacci. Now, this is, I just call it that. It's not something you can go look up, unfortunately. It's just the easier way of calling it. You know what I'm saying? Because we have our Fibonacci retracement. We're trying to identify where the market's going to come back and sell to, or not sell to, like before our potential buys. But we also want to make sure that our sell area is a strong level of structure. So how can we do that? We're going to use a Fibonacci extension tool to identify where this market may extend to, meaning that where this buy will end based off of like a few moves, really, based off of the idea that we have an impulse and this correction. Now that we have an impulse in that correction, we're going to be able to identify the next impulsive move being this. So this would just basically be considered an ABCD move. In case anybody's not aware of what that is just basically like a harmonic idea, just to keep it simple. You know what I mean? So we're looking at something like that. And for us to understand the next potential move, I already see the number, but we need to add confluence. So with our Fibonacci extension tool, we're going to go from the lows here to the highs up here. Now, if anybody does this shit where they just bring it right here, so where the corrections, ended, they're wrong. Just stop watching them. Fire them. That's absolutely incorrect. Because as you can see here, if we was to do that, that has no correlation to our structure. So we need to bring this right back down. Let me actually delete this so there's no confusion. So we need to actually drag this all the way back down to where we started. And as you can see here, we now have a strong area of structure. 141 Fibonacci extension ratio alongside our resistance point. So we now know where gold's going to finish, right? We now know where it's going to end its initial buy. And once it reaches that point, guess what, guys? We're going to look for ourselves at that point. And again, just to add further confluence, in case the market does, in fact, respect that area, look at that. That would be beautiful. I would love to see some shit like that. So right now, gold is a buy. And it's crazy because gold is buying, but so is the dollar. That's that correlated fact that I was speaking about. You know what I mean? Like gold is in a strong buy, at least right now. DXY has been in a strong buy. So it's just been very weird how the market has not been in the correlated standpoint how it usually is. But, I mean, it is what it is. But real quick, any other questions? Any other charts you guys would like to identify? By all means, feel free to let me know. I definitely got you guys. Ooh, I killed that for you guys. Any students on the auto trader right now, I know I put 2 entries on USD JPY and I got messages like, Jay, what the fuck? Well, there you go. I'm just doing it because I want to make sure you guys are making as much money as possible with the higher probability trade subs that I do believe in. And again, this was legacy line. This has nothing to do with technical analysis now I think about it. In case anybody's wondering what legacy line is, it's just this weird looking strategy that I have. But yeah, it was just based off of that because there was an extreme there, but just very simple concept. But yeah, any questions? Any other charts that I can help you guys understand, by all means, feel free to let me know. I definitely got you guys. If not, I'll be concluding here in a second, just so that way I can focus on the auto trader for students, really making sure that they are on top of profits and really making sure that they are all their questions are being answered in the Discord that we have as well. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys came from the Discord, but if anybody is not in our Discord, by all means, feel free to send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, Smoke Signal, Morse Code, anything you guys want, by all means, I'll definitely answer and give you the link to our Discord. But I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys, all of you guys are here from there as well. So really do appreciate everybody on the call. Let me see. I'm just checking the comments. If there's any other questions, markets, comments, concerns, gripes, complaints, I definitely got you guys. Oh, look at that. GJ making its correction known. All right. Might have to start looking at some exits on some of these entries. Gbp Usd, please. Let's see. All right, that'll be the last one. This was kind of like an easy one as well. This was More along the lines of structure. Same shit. Yeah, I mean, like everything I do is the same thing. It's not too much going to be of a difference. As you see here, there's just a level of structure, support zone. There's a buy. I think what we end up doing with trading is we try to make it more difficult than what it is. We believe it's rocket science, and we go try to practice rocket science, and we understand nothing about it. But when we start using common sense and putting just simple things together, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. Like I literally wake up every single morning and I tell myself, use common sense, because that's the most overlooked aspect, I think, with trading. We think that it's so difficult, and it's not. We are at a level of structure. This level of structure is being respected. How can we determine that? The candlesticks are showing the rejection. With the candles showing us a level of strong rejection, it's also showing us that there's a potential buy there. We just identified that, scale down to a smaller time frame. Where would we look for potential sells? Well, there could be a sell at this structure point. There could be a sell from here. But everything is subjective. You allow the market to show you and tell you. You know what I mean? Right here, all I see is the market buying from that point. And if it respects either here, I mean, obviously there's going to be other levels of structure, but I just don't want my charts having so much on it. I'll look for sells around these points because you have Fibonacci retrace. You have a level of structure there. That could be a nice little sell point. The market could respect that support for now and then break right through. Is probably gaining a little bit of momentum to do that. I do think overall we will be looking for strong sells. Because if we look at the higher time frame, that is, in fact, a head and shoulders pattern. So overall, I think it is going to sell. But right now, we are at that support range. Since we are at that support range, expect the market to continue to buy unless it respects at least these first two major structure points. After that, if it breaks above both of those, then obviously you just start identifying your next relevant structure that would take place or take relevance towards your initial trade setups as far as entries or even exits. But yeah, is it going to continue to buy? Maybe until so this is the thing. I don't fucking know. That's the one thing I wish I knew. We will never be able to say yes today at 8:30 a.m. Oh, the gold is going to make a strong buy move. We don't know that. I can't tell you how long something is going to be working as far as, a trend, or is that going to be buying until next week? I don't know. Nobody knows, not even the banks. So if anybody was to answer that and say, yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, it's going to be buying until tomorrow, they're wrong, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to tell the market what to do. That's not what we do. The market's literally giving us the clue, and it's telling us what we need to do, and we're just executing at the right time and at the right place. So unfortunately, I can't tell you, is it going to continue to buy until tomorrow? I don't know. But what we do know is that right now it is more along of a buyer's market because of the respect that we have at this level of structure. That is the reasoning behind the buy, but it never tells us how long something is going to be buying for, unfortunately. So I won't be able to answer the question to the fullest at that point. But I do believe that we are in a buyer's market, and we should be expecting a little bit more buys out of this market since we have the respect from that point. But unfortunately, I can't tell you if it's going to continue to buy until tomorrow. I wish I could, though. I really wish I could. But yeah, as far as GU is concerned, I do think that it will buy up until one of these points. It'll respect either one of these points. If not, it's not going to stop buying. And that's great, because if I'm correct, I got you guys for the auto trader in buys on this anyway. So you guys should be pretty solid. That, and I believe EU as well. I got you guys in strong buys. Same concept with EU, just finding a level of structure, even though it was kind of like, it was off a little bit. Like if I'm correct, my entries are somewhere around here. Or actually, no, because there's two entries. Got an entry somewhere down here, now up here somewhere as well. So both entries are working in profit, but I do think that this will continue to be more along the lines of buys. Again, just identifying what the market is leaving behind, giving us. Now it just was a little bit off, but tools don't want to work. This is where it's buying from. I think if I'm correct, my entries are somewhere around here. So I was off by a little bit, but as you see, my entries are being based off of just significant levels of structure. And now that we can understand that there's respect, and if you're like, there's no respect there, let's go into weekly. Always got to use multiple time frames. So with me being able to see that this level of structure is being respected, if you're like, Jay, no, it's not. Now it is, right? It just all depends on your markup and how you perceive and look at things, or how you would want to trade your markets or mark them up. I do believe that less is more. So I'm just doing this because I'm just highlighting the idea. I'm just looking at the area of structure. I'm not immediately placing it at that exact point. But when it reaches there, my eyes are open. I know what I'm looking for. I know what to do. Or I'm expecting something from that initial point. So I can see that this buy range, just another buy range, the market is kind of respecting that area. Market started giving us a little bit of leniency, right? Or a little bit of it was easing up a little bit because, like, if I'm correct, our entries are like somewhere here. And I got another one down here. You know what I mean? Now it's starting to give us the idea of strong buys. Now, there's really no technical confluence I've really felt comfortable with. I did, in fact, use legacy line to get the strong buy idea correlated with the other entry. That's why we had two entries, kind of like USD JPY. But I do believe that Euro USD, GU as well, GBP JPY, like we spoke on, even though it's currently selling, it looks like a strong sell. I mean, I would still suggest to look for buys on this for right now. You know, I mean, everything is based off of just structure, price, technical analysis, identifying what the market is leaving behind, and then using it to our advantage. But yeah, any questions? Anything else you guys got? I am looking at the comment section below, but that would probably wrap it up for me for today. I just really wanted to make sure that I'm giving you guys as much knowledge as possible and helping you guys understand some charts, answering any questions that you guys have, so that way you guys can understand how to become more financially free and successful with trading. I understand that, how powerful trading could be. I understand that it can help a lot of people. It definitely helped me. Definitely got me to where I am today. Without it, I can't, attribute none of my success anywhere else except for the fact that I just learned how to trade. So hopefully the analysis today helped you guys out. Hopefully I was able to answer some really good questions. I do apologize. Unfortunately, was not able to answer any crypto questions. I'm not the expert at that, so I'm not going to give, wrong and false information on something I don't know, because obviously I'm not the person to be doing that. Forex, I got you all day. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about Forex all day. I can help you out with anything that you guys need and want, and then go from there. But real quick, I do appreciate every last one of you guys who are on the live call, especially everybody who's watching the recording. If you watch this multiple times, that's even better. You're going to get a lot of knowledge as well. But real quick, highly appreciate every last one of you guys. If you guys have any questions, message me. My contact is here in the description below. As far as Facebook and Instagram, those are the two places where you'll find me the most. But thank you guys. Have an amazing week. Hopefully everybody remains and stays as profitable as possible. If you guys have, again, any questions, feel free to let me know. We also have the Discord for that as well. So if you want to ask our community, you can ask our Discord community. They'll be more than willing to help you with any and all of your questions as well. So thank you guys. It doesn't seem like we have any questions so far, so I definitely appreciate every last one of you guys. I'll see you guys Friday. I will be doing a live here on YouTube as well on Friday. These will be every Monday and every Friday. We'll do the market overview, and then we'll actually come back on Friday, look at a review, see what happened, see what we could have corrected, see where we went right as well. And so that way we can sharpen our tools together. So highly appreciate every last one of you guys who are on the live, who are watching the recording. Again, thank you. I can't express my gratitude anymore. So thank you guys. Have an amazing day. If you guys need anything, again, hit me up. I appreciate every last one of you guys. Tell somebody you love them, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, guys.